Okay.
Okay. Hi, so thank you so much for your time. If you wouldn't mind, please stating your name and your work that you do related to human rights education.
Sure. My name is Laura Branca. Um, Human rights education for me happens through the Dorothy Cotton Institute based in Ithaca, New York. I'm a senior fellow and the project director of DCI, Dorothy Cotton Institute. And we do human rights education sporadically. It's not like a constant offering that we do, but we have done quite a bit of it.
And
Uh,
what is, oh, I'm sorry. Please
that's
continue if
okay.
I could. No, the next question I had is what is one aspect of the human rights education work that you currently do that you're proud of?
That is popular education. It's not tied to an academic institution, and it's offered for free or on a sliding scale. It's pretty accessible. Um, it's been designed to have local relevance, and we've done it for people as young as middle school and as old as probably 80 years old. So, we have flexibility in how we customize it for different populations, and it's something that I think is it's really solid, and I think it's really useful to people. So, yeah.
No, thank you. And for you personally, and I guess like, being in this field, why do you think human rights education and training is important?
Because we have a right, a human right, to know our rights, and we think we know them. In the United States, a lot of people conflate civil rights and political rights with human rights and sort of think we got this, and human rights are for other people who are in some downtrodden country under a tyrannical regime or something. And a lot of people in the United States don't know their human rights. I didn't know all my human rights until I had to learn more about it in order to train it and teach it. So it's something that is, I guess I would say, a birthright, that it belongs to us because we are human. And so we really ought to know what it is. We ought to know about it. And we ought to know the relevance of human rights to the quality of our life and our society. And the education isn't just for people who are going to specialize in something. It's for everybody, and it's actually something that lots of people of all ages can understand and appreciate and um, make sense of.
And what would you say, how has your connection to the human rights educators of USA made a difference to you?
Well, it's reassuring to know that there are so many of us. Because in my life I don't run into a lot of human rights educators in my local world. Um, and the the ways that I see the human rights educators members that I've come into contact with is that they're very serious about what they do. They're working on issues. They take on a fair amount of advocacy and trying to organize political will that is related to human rights where they are. I think of them as people who have lived experience around human rights. So they're experts out of their own experience and their own passion for it. And I also think that they're people who are lifelong learners, that they didn't just learn something and then they keep repeating it and figure that it's done. I think that they're people who are um, connected to current events, contemporary issues, and are passionate about making human rights something that changes societies for the better. And so there's an element of uh, kindred spirit that I've experienced around the people I've had some contact with. That said, I'm not a very active member of human rights educators. I was there, as Christy said, when it was birthed. We were at a conference, I think it was in Cambridge at Harvard. There was a conference for human rights educators that attracted people from all over the country. And at some point, we had breakout sessions around particular topics. And the breakout session that I was in with my partner, colleague, Kirby Edmonds, was about, should there be some ongoing connection between human rights educators, or is this good enough, coming together when there's a conference? And so people spent a lot of time in that working group tossing that around and came out of it saying, yeah, let's try to create a network, a coalition of people who do this work for ongoing exchange, sharing resources, sharing new ways of looking at human rights, and to be more of a consortium, I guess, is one way to look at it. So a learning organization, but a network that you could sort of be nourished by and uplifted by, but that didn't necessarily tie you down in some particular ways, wasn't too rigid. And I didn't want to do it. I just thought, this sounds like a lot of work. I bet it's going to turn into a lot of work, and I don't have the bandwidth for it. But Kirby's hand just shot up. I was saying, don't raise your hand, Kirby. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're busy. And then it's like, I want to do it. So he ran with it. And he often, would try to connect me and encourage me and other people in our organization to be more involved than I think we could have been. But I'm very glad that HRE USA is still around and that it's now part of Center for Transformative Action. It feels closer, even though physically we're not closer, but I feel like, oh, yeah, I'm part of this thing that you're part of. And so actually in the last couple of years, I'm way more connected than I ever was.
No, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you. So I'm gonna stop